you want to say what your YouTube channel is so people can follow you?
There's nothing on it,
Oh.
so it's not really followable.
Oh, they can still follow you and... Hold on, guys. I need to make it so that my screen doesn't disappear.
You know, and go to my channel. Yeah.
What is your channel?
It's
Jeff?
Jefferson Hawkins.
Jefferson Hawkins.
Here we have to lean in.
Yeah, I could come sit closer to you on that side. You want to share both that side?
Sure.
Okay. This is nice. I have to order something myself. I just arrived. I'm super, super late because of stuff that happened outside of my control. But Jeff is so kind and patient, and we started our conversation just on the phone. And he gave me this. I'm so honored. This is his book. Please go and get it if you. I know you guys you see it backwards. Hold on, let me fix that for you. They see it backwards. We see it frontwards. I don't know why. But this is his. Is that you? That's you.
That's me, yeah.
That was
That's
him.
me. Actually, it's a Photoshop composition, but that's theoretically me at the int base.
At the ant base, you said?
At the international
Int base. Okay, yes. All these terms myself the first time.
Yeah.
Laura set me up to have lunch with Jeff because of his experience and history in Scientology. He joined when he was 21 and was in it for how many years?
35 years.
35 years.
Most of my adult life.
You said 18 years at the Gold Base, which is the Hemet compound that is like their private prison.
Yeah.
Just to catch you guys up, just so he doesn't have to repeat all the things. Some of the things that we talked about were like, I was like, is it more like military setup, more like prison setup? And he says it's like a combination of both. And that I was asking about what are some of like the more like surprising or like mind-blowing like punishments that they would put people through. And he was just telling me about being thrown into a lake. And I'm like, oh, what? Is that so bad, being thrown into a lake? It was really bad. Do you want me to say, or just you tell them?
Well, I was 58, so I was already, an elderly man. It was night on the high desert, so it was super cold. The lake was freezing, and I got thrown in. And that lake is not, the lake at the end base is not a clean, nice lake. It's a filthy lake, and there are leeches. There are leeches in the lake. So if you swim in the lake, you get leeches. They're little tiny ones, but you have to get them all off after you have been swimming, even if you've been swimming in your full clothes, as you are when you are executed by...
They throw you in fully clothed, and so then you have these freezing cold clothes on you. When you come out, you're extra freezing.
Yep, and little surprise leeches on your skin.
So there's that.
Yeah, which is, and this whole overboarding idea was Hubbard's, and they did that on this ship, and I saw it done. I was never overboarded on this ship. But they would be in harbor and they would throw someone off of the aft well deck into the water in a harbor. And if you've ever seen harbor water, it's
just like
filthy.
Filthy, okay.
Filthy and oily. So, and they would nicely check with you if you could swim.
And if you couldn't swim?
Then they would have somebody down there
to help you
back on the ship. So
I mean, if you can't swim, I can't imagine you're like volunteering for being on the ship.
Yeah.
But some are.
Yeah, not everybody can swim. I mean, fortunately, I learned to swim at an early age, so I'm very comfortable in the water, but not in that water.
The conversation started on the phone so interesting that I am just like, tell them if I'm lying. Question. Every one of his answers is making me think of more questions. So hopefully this isn't going to be our last conversation. So
Right.
I don't feel bad about it if I don't get all the questions in. But are you comfortable to tell them about the story of of your third wife and?
Sure. I mean, that's a long story. I tell it in my book.
Oh, did anyone ever drown? Somebody asked.
No, nobody ever drowned. Nobody. Sure, always to have like a lifeguard type person in the water when somebody was thrown over. So nothing untoward would happen.
He said that in the last year of him, he was 18 years at the Gold Base, which was the prison in Hemet.
Yep.
And that in the last year, he only got 4 hours of sleep per night on average, or
Yeah, average 4 hours.
4 hours a night.
Many times no sleep, and sometimes just a few hours. So constant sleep deprivation is part of the deal at the end base, because if you're sleep deprived, you're more suggestible.
Yeah, he was also telling me about a lot of their methods are hypnotic.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. The auditing and the TRs especially are hypnotic. So the whole of Scientology has a definite hypnotic aspect to it. And I've said this before, but one of the first essays that you read in Scientology is called How to Study Scientology. And Hubbard says, and it's in the front of a lot of the books, and Hubbard says, if you're reading one of my books, find something that you agree with, and then find another thing that you agree with, and then find another thing that you agree with. And that's how you're supposed to read his books. Well, that's a hypnotic process. Is agree. It's a sales technique that is, quite often used by salesmen. They'll say, well, you agree that your family would be safer in a new car, don't you? Oh, yes, absolutely. You agree that this car, would be better for your family, right? Yes. And they get you to nodding, agreeing, and then bang, you buy the car or whatever, It's a pretty well-known sales technique, but it's hypnotic.
Jennifer here is saying brainwash yourself. You're brainwashing yourself.
Yes, and all brainwashing is really brainwashing yourself. So that's totally correct.
Something interesting that on the call earlier before I got here that he said was that once he said, I like to ask ex-Scientology people if what was the last straw for you? You should probably tell them that answer.
Well, really, the last straw was being physically assaulted by David Miscavige, and I've told that story a lot of times. I tell it in my book.
It's in the book here, too. Yeah.
But yeah, there was, I think, 4 or 5 separate times that he physically attacked me. And he's just a nasty little guy. And in fact, ex-Scientologists will get this reference, but I was doing a doubt formula. The formulas, are you familiar with that? It's these heroic series of actions that you do when you've messed up, and then you're assigned enemy or treason. Then you are in a condition of enemy. You are in a condition of treason, and you have to work your way up through doubt, a condition of doubt, a condition of liability, and so forth. So, and this is all part of the mind control operation. But I was doing the formula steps for a condition of doubt, and the first step of that is find out who your friends are, or decide who your friends are. And of course, you're supposed to say, well, my friends are L. Ron Hubbard and David Miscavige.
Yeah, I'll have a latte. What's that one? What's that?
Vanilla latte.
Yeah, I'm gonna have that too. Yeah, thank you.
And the first step is find out or decide who are your friends, right? And you're supposed to say, oh, my friend is David Miscavige is my friend, you know. You're supposed to say that. And I looked at that. I looked at that and I said, no, he's not my friend.
Because he physically attacked you, punching, you said, right?
Yeah.
He punched you.
Yeah. And I said, he's not my friend. And then, you know, things moved forward and I was like, I'm out of here. You know?
They're trying to get you to say your friend is the person who attacked you.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
Yeah, and I can't, I could not go there. I could not say with any honesty that he was my friend. He was not my friend. He's not anyone's friend.
And Jeff told me that when he said that he wanted to leave, that they still made him stay for 4 months of sec checks.
Sec checks, yeah.
And then finally they were just like, okay, I guess you can go. Or
yeah, well, finally I was at, there's a section of the int base that is like a prison.
They said, glad you got out, Jeff.
Yes, thank you. There's a section of the int base that is not even a virtual prison. It is a prison, and it's all centered around one of the original houses on the property. It's called Old Gilman House, which is an old house, ramshackle, rundown house, and that's where the undesirables went. If you were being offloaded from the base or from Scientology, you had to go out to this old house and live there while you got your sec checks and so forth. And so I was out there for 4 months getting my sec checks, and you know, then finally I sort of you know, you can fool the e-meter. A lot of people know this.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Yeah, you can fool the e-meter by remembering something pleasant in your life. And then you just remember that feeling. It's like biofeedback. You remember that feeling, and then you can create that feeling in your mind again. And then the auditor says, okay, your needle is floating very good, you know?
Wow.
And so...
That's what you did?
That's what I did.
To get out of there, or else you would have been there longer.
Yeah, and they said, do you have any critical thoughts about David Miscavige? And I was like, oh no, I have no critical thoughts about Miscavige. He's a great guy. Needle floating. Okay, you can go.
By the way, also Laura is in this chat right now, and she says, "Hi, OMG,
Hey,
I love you both so freaking much. Jeffy, I miss you. Hearts and hearts and love and hearts."
Hey, Laura, wearing my shirt, my SP shirt. Laura calls me SP Grandpa.
Yeah, it's so great to meet you. And Laura, thanks so much for this, because we might not have even gotten to have this video call thing, because I started the call on the phone, but he's so full of such like incredible, like I can't wait to read this. Probably so much more, many more details on all the things he's been telling me already.
Yes, lots of stories. Yeah.
Yeah, and we were talking about how like we fantasize about going and like liberating everyone from that compound in Hemet. It's like he's like, I want to just drive a bus up there.
Yeah. The sad thing is that nobody would get in.
No one would get in the bus.
Because they're brainwashed.
Yeah, I was like, what would happen if you said, no, I'm not gonna leave. I'm not gonna wait till 4 months. I'm leaving now. Open the doors and let me go. He's like, they probably would let me go.
Yeah.
It's the prison people are in their own mind. In that case.
Yeah, it's you know, like they say, it's a prison of belief. You're the prisoner of your own beliefs when you're in Scientology. So.
Are there any other like the throwing you in the lake in the freezing night in your clothes and leeches is pretty like a cruel and unusual punishment. Are there any others that would make like people who have been never in like me just like so dumbfounded that that's allowed to happen?
Yeah, well, there's sleep deprivation. And then you were talking about you had a friend who was forced to stand up in front of the entire crew and just be berated
Yep.
and
broken down emotionally.
Yeah, that happened to me.
And then she said some people even do that naked. Have to do that naked.
Really?
She said.
We never did that. But yeah, I had to stand up in front of 300 people or 900 people or whatever was at the base at the time. And, they would read out my supposed crimes. Everybody boo. And, it was like a Roman circus. It was just, humiliating and degrading and everything else you can think of.
And then some people already know about like how I know that one security guy from the Blue Building is separated from his partner, like intentionally separated on the other side of the United States.
Yeah.
And then even like Laura's parents are separated.
Yeah. No, it's terrible. Yeah. I was telling you a story about my third wife.
This is an incredible story, guys. Dude, only say what you're comfortable saying, but it's an incredible story.
Yeah, no, it's a great story, again, which I tell in my book. It's very hard, impossible, really, to date at the end base. That is just, that's a non-starter. You can't date. So how do you meet anybody? How do you get married? It's just totally by chance. And I think Mark Headley pointed out that a first date at the end base is really riding the bus together on the way home. That's a date, you say. So, and that's how I met my third wife, Catherine, who is still there, still at the end base. But I noticed her when she arrived at the base.
Oh, thank you.
You ready to order?
Give me just one moment and I'll have them.
I was just gonna have some coffee. Are you hungry for something?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind.
Let's see. Maybe I'll eat something too. Sorry, here.
Anyway, get word. Benedict.
Eggs Benedict. Okay.
My Eggs Benedict.
I think I'm still just gonna do the coffee.
Yeah.
But please do what makes you feel comfortable.
Yeah. Anyway, I had noticed Catherine when she arrived because she was quite a beautiful lady, and so she had my attention right away. In fact, there is a picture of her in the book. The only picture of her somewhere in this book.
Oh, wow. I'm gonna show you guys. Right there. So you met on the bus.
Well, so we met kind of to say hi to each other, and then I was on the bus one night, and I was reading a book, and I put the book on the seat next to me to sort of hold it open. And then when I saw Catherine coming down the aisle of the bus, I just lifted up my book. She sat down, and we started talking, and we looked at each other, and people talk about love at first sight, and it sounds like a myth, but it was like bang. Yes, stories told.
I know it's backwards, but if you go back to the beginning of the stream, I show it frontwards. It's a glitch in my thing. Just listen to him. We'll put information about this in the description for the replay.
Okay, good. So anyway, people talk about love at first sight, and I had never experienced that, but it was like bang, instantly, and a thought went through my head, and I said, "This is my wife." It wasn't, "Gee, I'd like to marry this woman." It was like a fact. This is my wife. And at the same moment, she had the same thought about me. This is my husband.
But she was already married.
They were separated. Her ex was her
Legally.
her legal husband was
And
still
he was on the ship.
on the free winds, yeah.
So her husband, who she was no longer with, but they were legally married, was on the ship.
Yeah,
But because she was legally married, she wasn't allowed to talk to him.
right. Well, yeah. But since we had that immediate connection, bang. Later that day, it was a Saturday, and so we were on our renovation day, where we took care of the property. And I was, doing lawns or something, but she came out to see me, and she said, I got to tell you, I'm married. I'm separated from my husband, but I'm married. And I said, oh, thank you for telling me.
No, it's okay. No, please keep with your story.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just also looking down here at the...
She said, I wanted to tell you that I'm married, because there was an obvious attraction between us. And I said, well, thank you for being honest with me. And she said, I won't always be married, And so then we started sitting next to each other on the bus and talking during meal times. We would sit outside and talk for a few minutes. And, you're watched 24/7 if you're at the inn base. Everybody's watching everybody.
And video cameras everywhere, I'm sure.
Yeah, and so people started, blah, 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 and writing reports.
And they're encouraged to tell on each other.
Yeah, and so everybody was writing reports on Catherine about how we were like, sitting together, blah, 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 and all these horrible things we never even touched. And then Catherine got in trouble. And every day we would muster the whole crew out on the patio. And so the commanding officer of Golden Era Productions, a very awful lady named Lisa Schroer, got up and read out to the whole crew this knowledge report about how Catherine Fraser was, sitting next to me and all this thing, and she's a married woman and she's flirting with another man. This is horrible and horrible. And Catherine had to stand up in front of the crew while this was being read out, And I just, I felt horrible, And I just wished that could be me up there instead of her, because I didn't want to put her through any of that. So
sad.
So we said, okay, look, let's just not talk. Let's not hang out. Let's not talk. And so, okay, so we agreed with that. So we stopped sitting together on the bus, and we stopped sitting together at meal times and talking, and just cut it off because I didn't want to hurt her, And then a couple of months went by, and then she said, I have to talk to you. And so we sat down, and she said they want to send me to Florida. This was for the Lisa McPherson case. A lot of people are familiar with that. It's a woman who died under Scientology's care. And she said that they wanted to send her to Clearwater to help with...
Would you like to order?
Yes, I'll have the Eggs Benedict.
The which one?
The Eggs Benedict.
The Eggs Benedict?
Yeah.
And for your side, what would you like? Hash browns, potatoes, spinach and kale, fruit?
Hash browns. Yeah.
What else are you doing?
I'm just going to stick with the
You're
latte.
good with that?
I'm good with this.
Okay,
Thank you.
I'll leave that to you. I'll get that in.
All right.
Thank you, yeah.
Yeah. So she says, I'm gonna, I have to go to Clearwater. They're gonna send me to Clearwater. And I said, that's okay. I will be here. I will wait for you. It takes a year, however long it takes. I'm here, right? And anyway, she was disapproved to go to Clearwater because somebody had seen us talking. So that was another, violation for this horrible, horrible woman, And so she didn't go. But we decided, okay, we're not gonna talk at all until the divorce comes through. So we did that for a year. Just never talking, never even looking at each other, just ignoring each other for a year.
Did that cause you any depression?
Well, yeah.
Like, I can't imagine.
Yeah, it was odd, to just be forced to ignore this woman that I loved so much. And so we just went on and on and on. And then there was one day I was climbing the stairs to get up to my office, and she was on the landing talking to somebody. And so I just ignored her, and I was about to push on by. And looking for the story.
No, so I wanted to prepare this. I don't know. Somebody put in the chat. I don't want to interrupt your story. I was gonna wait, but they said, "Does Jefferson Hawkins have one of the greatest redemption arcs in cult history?" Page 163. Do you know what he's talking about? I don't want to interrupt your story. I'll just pause it right here. I'm gonna put a bookmark in.
Marker in there.
Yeah. Keep going. Don't lose your train of thought.
Yeah, so she's up on the landing. I'm climbing up the stairs, and I just ignore her and start to walk past, and she grabs my arm. And she says, "I have to talk to you." And I said, "Great, let's talk on the bus tonight." So we sat together on the bus for the first time in a year. And she said, "My divorce came through. I'm a single woman now." And so, it was a 15-minute ride from the base to where we were living. And during that 15 minutes, I proposed. She accepted.
Because you can't date.
Yeah, we never dated.
You can't date there.
Yeah.
And you were telling me on the phone, that the bus ride is people's first date.
Yeah, and so that was our first date, was that bus ride. That bus ride home, actually second. It was our second date, was that bus ride home, 15 minutes. And then I walked her to her dormitory and kissed her for the first time. And then soon after that we were married.
And what is a marriage ceremony like when you're in Scientology? Is it like a quick and like a feelingless, or is it like do you have people there supporting and like clapping for you, or do you?
It was, well, we had planned to have an actual ceremony out by the big castle that's on the property, and have a proper ceremony and invite people there and have chairs and all that sort of stuff. No, it was not to be. And we were discouraged from getting married. This is not a good time. It's never a good time. It's not a good time. It's not a good time. People kept telling us. And so we just decided to heck with it. And one Friday morning, we went I had a car then. We drove into Riverside, went to the Justice of the Peace office, and got our marriage certificate. Yeah. So we were legal, but that was just a legal move, was to go to the city hall in Riverside and get our marriage license. And so we were legally married. And then to our Scientology marriage was we grabbed 2 witnesses and went down to the office of the chaplain at the end base, a guy named Ken Hoden, that a lot of base people will remember. And Ken Hoden just married us by reading out Scientology marriage ceremony, and we had 2 witnesses there, and boom, we were married.
And how long before you guys can actually be living as husband and wife?
We managed to get a room pretty quick. I think within a week, we got a room together, and were able to live together at least.
And this is like, I was talking on the phone, I'm like, you don't know each other's favorite color, you don't know each other's favorite food or your pet peeves, or like...
We had never dated. We had never been on a date. Never.
You don't know each other's background, you didn't have any, but the marriage lasted how long?
Lasted for 5 years.
Which is pretty incredible, especially considering you don't even know each other. Right?
Yeah, but we had that connection that was just so strong. And that kind of kept us through.
And she's still there.
She is still there. And people give her a hard time online because she comes across in the videos that you see online, she comes across as a total bitch. But that's not what she's like at all. She hated the toxicity at the base. We talked about that many times, how toxic it was at the base. Everybody was criticizing and fighting each other and hating each other and on and on and on. It was so toxic. And she wanted to do something about that. And she thought that the best way to do that would be to be the base chaplain. So she could mediate differences and things like that and try to calm the waters at the base. I mean, she had good intentions of doing that, and she, I always say she's a wonderful lady, which leads on to another story. But she always comes across in these interviews. You can find them online. If you look up Catherine Fraser, Scientology, she is what they call the court captain at the end base. So if any reporters show up, or journalists, or protesters, she has to go out and handle them, and she gets videoed a lot.
So she's like the media ambassador.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
And
Catherine
Fraser. And she is very good at external relations, that sort of thing. She's just very well put together and very friendly, and so she can handle those things very easily. But she always comes across on camera as a total bitch. And I always say, no, she's not. That's not what she's like. Which leads to the other story. I got a phone call, I think it was 2010 or 2011, from Anderson Cooper in New York.
Oh, wow.
And he said they wanted to interview me on CNN. And I said, okay, when? And they said, tomorrow.
How did I luck out in getting this interview?
Huh?
How did I luck out in getting this interview?
Yeah, I know. You and Anderson Cooper.
Wow, guys.
Anyway, so I called my good friend Sherry Katz, who she's my sister from another mister, I always say. She passed away about a month ago, but she and I were just such good friends for years. I called Sherry and I said, I have to go to New York tomorrow, be on Anderson Cooper 360. And she, being a woman, of course, she said, what are you wearing? I said, I don't know, clothes, whatever. And she said, okay, we're going shopping. We went to Men's Warehouse, suit, shirt, tie, shoes, everything. And then she talked the salesperson down on the price, down and down and down and down. And ended up getting everything for about $700.
Wow.
Which is like an amazing
discount.
Yes, amazing deal. So, and then I went to New York and met up with Marty Rathman, who's going to be on the same show. I don't know if you know Marty. Yes, an odd character in Scientology, in ex-Scientology lore, because he was like the number one enemy of Scientology, because he had been David Miscavige's assistant for years, and at the end base he was Miscavige's enforcer. So he was not a very well-liked person in the ex-community, you know. And he had a blog where he was criticizing Scientology, and then he wrote a couple of books which nobody read. And then all of a sudden, and he was being harassed every day by a group of Scientologists who would come to his house in Texas and, you know, make trouble for him. And so he was just being harassed and criticized by Scientology, on and on and on. All of a sudden, zip, he switched and he started criticizing all of the people that were speaking out against Scientology.
They got to him.
Yeah, he switched sides. And he made a series of videos.
Yeah, somebody says, was Marty compromised?
Absolutely. He made a series of videos criticizing everyone in the community. And he made a whole video criticizing me, which was like, whoa. And everybody was like, what is with Marty? Why is he doing this? Because if you looked at the videos, it was obvious they were produced by the church. So we're like, what? And then they were being hosted on church websites. And everybody was like, okay, he's been paid off. And guess what? Right after that whole thing, Marty bought a new house, got his wife set up in business in a bakery. And all of a sudden, Marty Rathman, who couldn't sell any books and who couldn't hold a job, all of a sudden he's throwing all this money around. It's like, oh, okay, well, he's been paid off. You know?
Wow.
Yeah, and I think that that's pretty much factual.
Go ahead. I was going to say somebody has a question, but I want you to finish first. If any protesters talk to Catherine, should they pass along a hello from Jefferson?
Sure. Yeah, pass along a hello. I don't know what difference that will make, but pass along a hello.
Another one came in. Did they get any time for themselves after they got married?
Not really. I mean, I would get home late, sometimes early morning rather than late at night. And for the last year I was there, I was getting home when Catherine was getting up.
Yeah, opposites. Do you think that they planned that for married people to have opposite schedules?
I don't know if it was planned, but I'm sure if they had the intelligence to plan that, they would. And we never had a day off. There was one year we had a day off about a week before Christmas, because the staff at the inn base had to have time to buy Christmas presents for their family and send them off, because if they didn't, it would be a PR flap. The family wouldn't hear from them for Christmas, and it was like, oh, big PR flap, you know. So they would allow us one day to go to the mall and go Christmas shopping. So Catherine and I got a day at the mall.
That was your big date.
And I knew that we weren't going to have Christmas together, because we never did. In 5 years of marriage, we never had Christmas together. So I said, okay, this is our Christmas. And I said, find anything you want and I'll buy it for you. It'll be your Christmas present. And, you know, so she just went shopping. She was in heaven. And she found a dress that she liked that was $500. And I bought it for her on the spot. And I said, that's your Christmas present.
But don't the Sea Org members not get maybe less than $50 a week? And this is a long time ago, so maybe even less.
Well, I had my mother had died a few years before that, and I had money from her estate, which made me rich for a Sea Org member, comparatively. So I was able to buy her whatever she wanted. She wanted this dress, and I said, good, it's yours.
It's so sad how little time you get with somebody who you care about.
Yeah. I know, it's crazy.
Did you yourself witness any like people who were in need of medical care, the medical care was withheld from them? Like, I know Tori Magoo, she wasn't allowed to have her grand mal seizure medications.
Yeah.
But any like abuses of people in that way?
Well, yeah. And Maureen Bolstad tells a similar story. We called her Mo. And since there was another Mo, we called her Little Mo. So and even though she was bigger than Big Mo, anyway, she was Little Mo, and she had horrible headaches and spinal problems when she was in the Sea Org, just debilitating. And so they would give her more auditing and more auditing and more auditing and more auditing. And nothing worked. Nothing worked. She still had these things. So when she left the Sea Org, she went to a doctor and got x-rays and everything, and she had, I think it was a slip disc or a herniated disc or something. And they fixed it, and she's fine.
Okay.
So.
And for her, do you know what her last straw was? I like to ask this of people who've left. Like, what was the last straw? For you, it was being attacked physically by David Miscavige.
Yeah.
Do you know what it was for Mo, Little Mo?
I don't know. Yeah, but I'm still in touch with her, and she was recently reunited with her sister, her twin sister, which I was very
Well, that
glad
must have been tough for a twin to have their twin be like stuck.
Yeah, she couldn't talk to her sister for years, and they recently reunited, and I'm just so glad to see that. Yeah.
I know, like, when the food comes, we'll turn this off so that we can enjoy a meal, but I wanted to make sure that I asked you before we finish. I'm always wanting to know, like, what is the most effective thing I can say? I'm a never in, and I just try to, I don't even know what to say. Would you have any recommendations for, like, how to reach somebody who's in? I'm pretty good at telling people who aren't in not to go inside and why.
Sure.
But they're like, when I start talking to a person who's in, part of me is like, there's no, like, they're in. They're not gonna hear you from any of the things that you're saying.
Yeah.
But is there anything that you think would reach somebody who's in?
There is one technique which I've found pretty effective, and it kind of bypasses all of their, all of their defense mechanisms. Which is, you say, there's a long version and a short version. I'll give you the long version.
Yeah, give us the long one, please. Because I know a lot of people out here do try to help, and they can use this to really reach more people.
Yeah. Hubbard says, don't believe anything.
Yeah. Right after you're finished saying, we'll turn this off. Here's your. Right at the important part, guys.
Yeah.
The life-saving part.
Yeah, exactly. You sure you don't want anything?
It does look really good, actually.
It is really good.
I'll decide after. What I want is completely unimportant compared to what they're about to hear and what will help me too.
Yeah, so me talking with my mouth.
No, I don't mind. I only want you to be comfortable. So. Oh, it looks amazing. Yeah, let everyone see it. We are at Hal's Cafe, by the way, in Portland. Hal's Cafe. What a great little atmosphere and quiet, personal dining experience. Okay. So, as you were saying.
So, remember I was telling you about this Hubbard's hypnotic thing of find something you agree with. Find something you agree with. Okay. You got to flip it. Flip it on people. You say, okay, now Hubbard says you only should, believe stuff that's true for you. If it's not true for you, then it's not true. Okay, so then you say, okay, that means that if you are a Scientologist, you have two bins. The stuff that's true for you, and the stuff that isn't true for you. And you're sorting everything into one of those two bins as you progress in Scientology. Isn't that right? And of course they have to say, well, yes, because that's what Hubbard said to do, right? And then you go, okay, tell me something that's in your reject bin. Something that's not, something in Scientology or in Hubbard's work that is not true for you. What's in your reject bin?
That you need to smoke cigarettes. Is that one of them?
Could be. I mean, it's going to be individual. But instead of finding something you agree with, etc., it's find something you disagree with, find something you disagree with. See, you ask them, okay, is there anything in Scientology that you disagree with? Is there anything in Hubbard's work that you disagree with? Is there anything that management is doing in Scientology that you disagree with? And they'll think, and they'll go, and if they go, no, there's nothing, and you say, well, then you're not doing what Hubbard said. You're not sorting into the bins. You're just putting everything into the
Agree.
Yeah, into the agreement. There's nothing in your disagreement. So you're not following Hubbard. So find something, tell me something, anything you disagree with. So finally they'll find something they disagree with. Okay, anything else you disagree with? And after a couple of those, it's like a sweater with the loose thread. You're pulling on it. You're pulling on it, you're pulling on it, and pretty soon the whole sweater comes apart.
So, and a lot of that happens after you leave them, when they go on their own.
Yeah,
you just started it, and they continue.
They continue,
on their,
and then it goes bum, 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 bum.
And then, they tell you a couple of things, and you go, okay, thank you for telling me. Have a good day. And then they continue it on their own. Is there something else to say that would be helpful?
No, they will automatically continue it on their own.
On their own.
And they will keep thinking about it. And they'll thinking, yeah, there's that. And, and that's okay. I told somebody about that, so that's okay that I disagree about things.
L. Ron Hubbard said so. I can disagree.
Yeah, L. Ron Hubbard said I could disagree. And so, yeah, I have things I disagree with.
Wow.
And, it's a great little formula.
That is.
They can't reject it because you're telling them to do what Hubbard said to do.
I have a lot of trouble getting them to talk to me at all or respond in any way.
Yeah.
I had a gentleman, I was walking, and there was an elder gentleman who was doing manual labor, like heavy box moving. He wouldn't let me help. Mm-hmm. And I asked him something like, there's a lot of controversy surrounding Scientology. I wonder if you can tell me something that you find is like a misconception people have about Scientology. I was trying to start a conversation, and he was just like, no, I don't know. He didn't want to answer me. But if I next time said something like, how would I say it? Like, L. Ron Hubbard says that you should separate the things you're learning about Scientology into bins of things you agree and disagree. Is there anything you disagree with? in
Right.
Scientology.
Yeah,
and
or things that are real to you and things that are not real.
real to you. Okay, things that are real to you versus things that are not real to you in regards to what you've learned about Scientology or being in Scientology. And if they say no, there's nothing that I everything's real to me. Then I say, but then isn't that against what L. Ron Hubbard tells you to do? You're supposed to put you're instead of divvying things between the two bins, you're putting everything in the I agree bin.
Yeah.
So if you want to follow L. Ron Hubbard, aren't you supposed to have some things that aren't
Yeah,
real to you?
that aren't real to you.
What is it? Like nothing even in management? Nothing even, and I do that. Nothing even in the way that you see some people treated or being able to communicate with each nobody? Nothing that you disagree with? Or it doesn't feel right or real to you?
Yeah.
And just even if they don't answer, maybe they'll still think about it.
They'll start thinking about it. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. I feel like a little more prepared. Well, I'm gonna let Jeff enjoy his meal. I might order something too. I want to thank all of you guys for watching, and hopefully this isn't our last conversation. I'm gonna come back in about the 1st of August for a week, and I'd love to have another chat with you like this,
Yeah, absolutely.
if possible.
And this is for you.
Oh, what is it? Oh yes. So, do you want to tell them anything about this, or?
This is just the next Ex-Scientology meetup.
There's an Ex-Scientology meetup I didn't know about.
Yes.
August 2nd, I'll be here.
Yes.
And you'll be there.
And I'll be there Friday, August 2nd, 7:30 p.m. at the Grace Church in Portland, which is at the corner of Clay and 12th, if you're in the Portland area.
I will be. So I'll look forward to giving you guys an update. If I'm not allowed to share it live, I'll definitely give you guys an update afterwards.
Yeah, we don't
Okay,
share.
so we won't be having sharing, but I'll give you guys an update afterwards. So grateful for you this time. And I'm going to hang up with you guys, but we're still going to hang out and eat. Bye, guys. Thanks for coming.